One of the biggest barriers to getting your dream job is landing that first interview, but the things holding you back aren't just recruiters and ATS systems. They're your scientifically bad resume, and the data shows it. So I did the work for you, and I spent hours digging up the top 5 proven principles where all the experts and the data agree, from studies of over 125,000 resumes, from vice presidents at Amazon, Netflix, and startups who have reviewed tens of thousands of resumes, hiring managers and recruiters, some pretty cool eye tracking studies, and my own experience reviewing thousands of resumes as a senior director of product. So whether you're just starting out or you're updating your resume as a senior leader, you can stop guessing and write a resume that's proven to land you interviews and jobs. By the way, I'm calling late, so hit that like button and help our future AI overlords to spread this video to the people who need it. Number 1 is show, don't tell. Every expert said missing this was the number 1 mistake they see in resumes. Including specific numbers to show your achievements can make you 40% more likely to get an interview. But I've seen many candidates struggle to put numbers to their work. I was just reviewing one of my previous direct reports' resumes, and I couldn't see all the amazing things she had accomplished on our team. 3/4 of resumes had less than 5 metrics, and 1/3 had none at all in Austin Bell-Sachs' study of 125,484 resumes. Companies want measurable results because A, metrics are persuasive. If 10 videos are saying most recruiters like metrics on the resume, and if I say 92% of 1,600 surveyed recruiters say you need metrics, which will convince you more? Metrics are eye-catching and break up the blocks of words on a resume, making it easier to read. And C, metrics show that you know how to measure your work and improve. A simple way to showcase your achievements is by using this formula. 1, state what you achieved. 2, how you measured its success. And 3, how you did it. For example, led the launch of 2 new pricing tiers that lifted signups by 75% by conducting customer pricing research. If it's hard to measure your output, for example, if you were just a marketing contractor to a larger project, you could highlight the impact of the whole project as well as your contribution. For example, design marketing creative for the spring launch that beat the previous year's sales by 60% by incorporating sales team feedback and designs. Or if you were in a technical role, Alex Chu, a tech lead from Meta, gives this example: increased Android test coverage by 80%. Which sounds good, but most people outside of engineering don't care, and it doesn't really show the impact on the product. So let's improve that. Increased Android test coverage by 80%, reducing the user bug reports by 50%. And you should put numbers that most people will understand. Ethan Evans, a former VP of engineering at Amazon, suggests that you include how much money your work either saved or earned for your company. For example, led the launch of 2 new pricing tiers that lifted signups by 75%, resulting in $29 million in incremental revenue. And if there is absolutely no number, find another objective signal of success, like awards, new customers, or enabling another project to be successful, and talk about how quickly you did it. Number 2, be concise. Keep your resume to 500 to 600 words and 1 to 2 pages. Resumes over 600 words are 43% less likely to land an interview, according to a TalentWorks study of over 6,000 job applications. You can see in this chart how less than 475 words also hurts your shot at getting interviews, but over 77% of resumes don't meet this criteria. And another study, tracking the eyes of recruiters as they reviewed resumes on the job, not in a lab, showed they only spent 7.4 seconds on average per resume and only read a fraction of each page. Most people keep adding to their resumes, believing the next bullet or keyword is the one that's really going to win over the recruiter. But the more you put in, the less likely they're actually going to read the most critical information. Ethan Evans, that VP at Amazon, had 30 years of experience and only has a 2-page, 700-word resume, so there's no reason you will need any more. As he puts it, your goal is not to tell your whole life story, it's to put your 3 best accomplishments for each role so the hiring manager can't miss them. Recent surveys and simulations also show that recruiters prefer 2-page resumes for senior candidates, but they didn't agree on the advice for entry-level candidates, and this wasn't based on actual interviews and offers, so it could be biased. The experts were all much more clear and recommended 1 page per 5 to 10 years of your experience. Of course, there are exceptions in academia and medical fields, or in some regions like the Middle East and Europe, but even then, if you're applying to a US-based company, it won't apply. But for almost all of you, just keep it short and focus on number 3, prioritize. All experts suggest cutting old and less relevant points to focus on the most important ones. But what does the data actually say? Eye tracking studies have shown that recruiters spend only 7.4 seconds per resume on average, and sometimes less. But luckily, recruiters scan your resume in an F-shaped pattern, and you can hack this to get them to read more of the important information. The latter's eye tracking study showed that first, recruiters scan down the left side of the page looking for key brand names and companies or role titles. So make sure the most important information, roles, and companies are left aligned with company names and roles bolded. So that way they're easy to find and draw the recruiter's eye down the page. The recruiter might not even read the bullets if they don't get hooked by the role or title. Startup Vice President Akash Gupta suggests giving context to make lesser known companies more relevant. For example, you say Tabby, $1.5 billion buy now, pay later platform. But 2, the recruiters then scan down and across the top of the bullets for that role, reading only the first few words per bullet and less of each bullet down the list. This means you need to put the most impactful and relevant bullets at the top of each section. It also means you only have 5 to 8 words per bullet to hook them for the rest of the bullet. You need to put either the accomplishment with some context for why it's so impressive, or swap the order and put the metric first. For example, start with either launch the company's first ever X resulting in, or improved Y 30% by doing Z. This stops their scanning so they'll read the rest of the bullet. Interestingly, the study also showed that recruiters got distracted by images, graphics, and formatting like columns and colors, making them spend less time on the actual content of your resume. So even if you're a designer, prioritize content over style. Use boring, clean templates, and maybe add a single text color to make company names pop. A good way to think about this is if you folded your resume so just the left third of it is showing, would a recruiter still be intrigued enough to want to interview you? You should still use the chronological order of experience, but Netflix's former VP of Product, Gibson Biddle, encourages you to include more details about your most recent roles, giving them 3 to 4 bullets each, with only 1 to 2 bullets for your earlier jobs. The eye tracking study showed that recruiters not only skip the last few bullets for each of the roles, they barely read the later roles in the resume. Now we move to number 4. Once you've prioritized, it's time to cut the fluff. Recruiters and hiring managers all dislike buzzwords, cliches, adverbs, personal pronouns, passive or team-based words, and any subjective self-rating you give yourself on the resume. Unfortunately, we see tons of this from even the most senior candidates, and especially resumes written with ChatGPT. Again, this is an example of show, don't tell. I hope you already feel cringy writing cliches and buzzwords like team player or detail-oriented, but there's more fluff to cut. Empty words fill the top of so many people's resumes like customer lifecycle management, entrepreneurial thinker, agile, test-driven developer. You are not demonstrating either soft or hard skills by including these words. Anyone can put these in their resume, so it becomes meaningless. So instead of saying qualitative opinions about yourself, just show examples instead. Instead of saying scrappy and entrepreneurial, show with brought X new product from concept to launch with limited resources. Instead of saying cross-functional team leadership, show with hit a project launch deadline with $10 million at stake by leading cross-functional partner teams to unblock critical issues. Related, many experts agree that adverbs are bad verbs, meaning they should be taken out or replaced with evidence. Instead of successfully implemented X software, use implemented X software resulting in 95% daily usage by the support team. That evidence proves that successful. Surprisingly, even a single personal pronoun like I, we, or you was shown to hurt your chances of getting an interview. On top of that, team-oriented words like collaborated or assisted hurt resumes if they're used too much, so replace them with leadership words like led or managed that increase interview rates. But now, after being concise, prioritizing, and cutting all that fluff, you might be wondering, how do you even meet the job description requirements? And that brings us to number 5, use the right amount of job keywords. Adding critical job keywords was shown to improve hireability by 59%, but only 51% of job description words and skills were matched in candidate resumes. But that isn't all necessarily a bad thing. Yes, applicant tracking systems do filter on the important keywords, and recruiters want to see at least half of the requirements met. But Ethan Evans, former VP of Amazon, observed that even more senior candidates try to cram in a large number of keywords at the top of the document to pass. I've seen these giant ugly tables, which aren't ATS friendly, piled at the top of resumes. First off, in 2023, Forbes reported 80% of all jobs go to someone with a network connection to the role. So you shouldn't just be relying on the ATS to get your resume seen by a recruiter or hiring manager. Or you'd be limiting yourself to only 20% of the roles. For that, see my next video on crafting your LinkedIn and networking. Second, we showed how recruiters scan resumes in an F pattern and read only part of it, so cramming all the words at the top will just hide your more important accomplishments, and more importantly, the metrics and evidence they want to see. And lastly, most experts suggest tailoring your resume to a job description by replacing bullets and words, as opposed to cramming all the words in for all the job descriptions. And I've seen 3 good ways to include job keywords and skills. 1, include them in a skills section at the end of the resume, but only include more recent skills so you can speak to them at length. 2, put a skills or technology bullet as the last bullet for your most important jobs to show those technologies used in context. And 3, add the keywords to the end of the impact statement bullets themselves in context. So those are the 5 tips: show, don't tell, be concise, prioritize, cut the fluff, and use the right amount of job keywords. And I'll share 3 resume examples with a marketer, a product manager, and a software engineer in the description below. But you might be asking, what about the other best practices like summary sections or white space? Experts don't all agree here, but you can use our principles to guide you. Based on the F-shaped pattern recruiters use to scan your resume, one candidate would want their recent Google experience right at the top with no distractions. But someone else who worked at Google maybe 5 years ago might want to flag that up at the top in a highlight bullet or a 1-sentence summary. If you need more help, comment below if you want to know my top 5 resume mistakes. And your resume isn't the only important part of your job search. Many candidates are getting hired with just their LinkedIn. So watch my next videos on writing a magnetic LinkedIn profile and networking to get interviews.